Welcome back to our BNI San Diego podcast. Again, we are live here in Houston, Texas for our BNI National Conference. And I'm really excited because I have a good long-standing friend, David Kaufman. David Kaufman is what's your role? Well, you are one of two individuals that oversee the BNI Foundation.
Correct.
Right?
So my official title is I am the Vice Chairman of the BNI Foundation Worldwide, Inc.
And David, how long have you been in BNI?
This is my 25th year in BNI.
Whoa.
As a member, 25 years.
So wait, you got a 25-year pin then?
I'd get it in June.
Terrific. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Terrific. So how long have you been involved in the BNI Foundation?
The foundation has been around in about 27 years, and this is my 19th year.
Wow.
Involved with the foundation.
And you're the what's the
Co-chairman.
title? Co-chairman.
Co-chairman. Yeah.
Along with who?
Kevin Barber.
Kevin
who's,
Barber.
the chairman right now. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what are some of the things so for our BNI members, whether they're in San Diego or around the world, what are some of the things that we can do in our local areas to really support the chamber, but supporting it through our local communities?
Right. So one of the things you have to remember is that children are 20% of our population, but they're 100% of our future. They're going to hopefully fix and solve the problems that we created or problems that were here before us that we couldn't fix. So making sure that these children are properly educated is one of the most important things for the next generation and the generation after that. So the easiest thing for you to do is just get involved. There's many ways to get involved in the foundation, and it starts with you and your local community. You don't need a big fancy organization. We call them Business Voices teams. Business Voices teams can be 2 members in a chapter, can be the whole chapter. I have one in Delaware. We have 1 or 2 members from all 10 chapters. So it doesn't matter. But what you do is you find somebody in your chapter who has some affiliation with children. Could be a teacher, a school, an after-school program. We work with Horizon House Homeless Shelters, who has 300 elementary school kids in the shelters. We work with the Boys and Girls Clubs of New Jersey and a couple other states with funding summer programs and after-school programs. We just bought them 3D printers for their science department. But basically, as a chapter member, you want to find someone who's got an affiliation with an organization that works with children in education. And the biggest mistake I've found, and I made this mistake in the beginning, is I went to a school and said, here's backpacks and school supplies. And they said, no thank you.
Oh, wow, really?
And I went, no thank you? And they went, we don't need that. And that was my first lesson. I said, well, what do you need? They said, shoes. They said, we need shoes, sneakers, boys, girls, all sizes, because when the weather's bad, our attendance goes down because these children don't have the proper shoes.
Gotcha.
So it's very simple. I went back to my region and I said, who of you have kids that have grown up? You have gently used shoes, old, new, as long as they're in good shape, bring them to the chapter. And we collected over 400 pairs of shoes.
Oh, wow.
We brought them to the school and they were so happy. We checked back with them. They said it's made a huge difference. So you got to make sure that what you're doing is what they need, not what you think they need.
So it's not just, hey guys, let's get together and because it's a school, they need school supplies.
Correct.
Don't assume, actually go in and do a little bit of research and ask the question.
Yeah. That's the most important thing. You have to ask them what they need. Yeah.
So Business Voice, what are some of the other elements of Business Voices? It's not just about like supplies or those types of things. What are some of the other elements that Business Voices does?
So if you look at the foundation as a whole, we kind of have 2 sides. We have the money side, or Givers Gains grants, which we give out throughout the year. We have the Meisner Endowment, which is our money for the future to keep us going. And on the other side, it's the giving and the doing. So the first side is the money in, money out. The second side is the giving and the doing. So sometimes it is buying supplies. Sometimes it is going into a after-school program with little children and reading books to them.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes it is going into what we call our future leaders, where you go into organizations where the children are 15 to 18, and you actually have a conversation and do some mentoring, and you'd be amazed the questions they have. They want to know how you picked your career, what mistakes you made, what education did you need, things like, what do you know now that you wish you had known earlier? And it's just this natural mentoring. And it's amazing that I was doing this in school last year, and one of the girls came up and she said, you're one of the few people that have walked into the room that was a real person who came to talk to us, not a teacher, not a principal, just a real person who came to talk to us. And she said, we really appreciate that.
Love that.
And it's as simple as that. It's you, our members, solving the issues in your local community.
And as business members, or our, not business members, as business professionals, as people, we can really impact a school, a classroom, letting these future leaders know that there are other things to do in their future, that, you can be anything that you want.
Yep.
And we're proof of that,
Yes.
because we were your age at one time, right?
Yes, we were.
So
A while back, but we were.
Can you share like an exciting story or something that you, when you look back at your years in the foundation, and I'm going to keep on the topic of business voices, something in the recent past where it was such an impact that you left and just like it really kind of touched your heart.
There's actually a number of them. I think the one that probably touched my heart the most was Horizon House Homeless Shelters.
Okay.
And it was in Philadelphia. It was getting cold, and they said we're desperate for down jackets, winter jackets. And I work with special needs students in the aquatics program at the YMCA.
Oh, very cool.
And I knew they were affiliated with the local automobile,
Yeah.
and that they had a coat program every year where the owners of these places all chipped in.
Oh, wonderful.
And so BNI is networking, so I networked up to meet one of the owners of there, and I really wanted to make sure the kids got what they needed. So I went and said, give me the names, the sizes, and the colors. These kids wanted their jackets.
You drilled all the way
I
down.
drilled all the way down. And I went to them, and I was competing with a lot of big nonprofits, and I said, here, these are the children that need your help.
Wow.
And he was so impressed. Not so sure we got all the colors right, but we got the sizes and the amounts right, and we were able to get 151 brand new down jackets. And there's this one little girl, she was maybe 4 or 5, and she's sitting on her mother's lap and she's crying. And I went over to her and I said, what's going on? And she had the plastic bag with the coat in her hands, a pink, I'll never forget, a little pink down jacket. And she said, this is the first time in my life I ever had a new jacket.
Oh, wow.
So that was one that just
and for us, it's such a simple thing as just it's a jacket. I paid for a jacket for someone, but we never know where the impact and how it's going to impact someone. The key thing is get involved. You said, it doesn't have to be huge. It's not about donating thousands of dollars. If you've got $10 to and even better, I think I love the element of the time. Right? Yeah. Volunteering your time in a classroom to speak to kids on entrepreneurism or your business.
I'm going into a high school. I have it set up for this October. Before I became a BNI director, I was an electrician.
Oh.
And so they reached out to us and they said, we have a huge dropout rate because they don't want to go to college. It's a low income.
Yeah.
And she asked me if I could bring in a bunch of different contractors and speak to the fact that you don't have to have a 4-year college degree to make money. So we're bringing in electricians, plumbers, painters, carpenters, general contractors who are going to go in there and say, I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I went to trade school. It was only a year. And now here I am with my business. I'm making $150, $175 an hour, and I'm very successful. So we're going to go and say, if you don't want college, there's another path. So we'll be doing that. And getting back to the giving part where it doesn't cost you money, I'll give you 2 other examples. We were with another organization who said they need children's socks and underwear. And they have to be new. You can't donate.
Yeah.
Nobody wants used underwear, right?
No,
That's not what they want, right? And so what we did is, I don't know if you have Kohl's department stores.
We do.
Here. How many of you go to Kohl's, you buy what you need, and then they give you that ridiculous Kohl's cash?
Yep.
That's good for next week when you've already bought everything you need.
Yeah.
So I went to my chapters and I said, how many of you have this? Bring it all in next week.
Oh, wow.
So we got all the Kohl's cash and we went in there. Now, they did throw me out after a certain period, so I had to send somebody back in because it was too much Kohl's cash. But we bought all the socks and underwear with the Kohl's cash that our members weren't even going to use.
So there are a lot of different ways to get involved.
We had a group of high school age kids that needed computers to continue their education. and they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So I went to my region and said, come on guys, you have iPads, Chromebooks, laptops that you haven't touched. You haven't touched in years, and we got 27 devices.
Oh my gosh.
We gave them to the IT gentleman in my chapter. He wiped them clean and put software in them.
Oh.
And then we distributed them. And I got this beautiful thank you letter from this young lady who was going off to college, and now she has the device she needs to succeed.
That's fantastic. And I know that I know you well enough to know, and I know your passion for what you do, and there's tons of stories. So as we close out, for our listener that's going, how do I get involved? If you can talk to that listener just to be able to share some of the simple ways of just getting involved.
Yep. So I would say the thing that I can almost guarantee you is that someone in your chapter knows a teacher, an after-school provider, someone who's on the PTO, the PTA. You know people. All you do is have to ask, what do you need? And you'd be surprised how simple it is to get involved, because they're going to say, I need X, Y, and Z. And it might be material. It might be your time. We need volunteers in the after-school program, or on the weekends, or in the summer program.
So then it's not always about money.
No.
It could be about just the time.
I would say it's probably about 50-50. 50% of the time, it's something like backpacks and school supplies that you have to spend money. And the other half of the time, it's really about your time and your talent, just getting involved. It really is.
Wonderful. So the key thing is just get involved. Correct. Whatever it is, however it looks, just get involved.
And it doesn't have to be a big, massive project. Little things make a huge difference in a child's life.
And it can be one person or a multiple, like a whole chapter.
Right. So in my chapter, we have 3 or 4 people. And when they need help from the chapter, they say, hey guys, this is what we need. And sometimes they just need 1 or 2 people, and they just keep doing the things that they're doing. Awesome. So it doesn't have to be a big project. What I would ask is that you go to our website, bnifoundation.org. There's a section on business voices, and there's a submission. If you submit to us what you're doing and send us information and pictures, we in the foundation would like to promote you across the country and give you credit for the things that you're doing to help local children.
Wonderful. And that link will be down in the show notes, so make sure you click on it. David, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
I'm looking for in San Diego with Jill Kratz, one of our directors.
Jill's wonderful.
She's really, really passionate about the foundation, and we're going to be getting involved and just really bringing helping in the areas that are needed. So thank you for being a part of this organization. Thank you for being a longtime friend and colleague, and I really appreciate you joining us for the show today.
Thank you so much.
And for our listeners, thank you for being with us again. Again, Ed Wilson, BNI San Diego Director. We are signing out from Houston, Texas at our BNI National Conference.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruise Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruiseproductionsinc.com.